And how are things today, Greg?
Oh, things are great. The garden's going nuts.
Going nuts, like it couldn't be any better.
I can barely keep up.
I can barely
keep up with the productivity, with the abundance.
I keep saying I got to bring a truck up and fill up the back of it.
A truck might be in order.
Yeah. So we're going to start by just saying thanks to the subscribers and fans, and the audience has been steadily growing. More notably on Facebook in recent weeks, and more than likely because of the great videos that you've been putting out, and they're very informative.
Gee, thanks.
Yeah, I have to say that.
Yes.
But no, they're good. They're good videos, and it seems to be keeping people entertained and informed throughout the season. So, anything you want to add to that?
No, it's been fun doing it, and I like the feedback that some people are giving me online, not only on YouTube but just on the Facebook page. So I try to get back to everybody, and I don't check it every day. I have to be honest with that.
Sure.
But if you put a comment up, I'll probably get back to you within a week. I suppose,
a week or less.
Yeah, I mean, I try if I notice it, but I don't always. What is it now? There's one email. We have all these different emails for different things. So there's one particular email I have to log into, which tells me every single thing people have said.
Right.
If I log into Facebook and I see something, I'll get at it right away. But if it's a previous one or what have you, I might not get back to it right away, but at least at this point, where I don't have 100 emails a day, I get back to each and every one of them, and I try to put some thought into it where appropriate. I mean, cool. sometimes I'll just say thanks, but it depends on the content of the message.
Yeah, for sure. Yep, no, that's reasonable for sure. So before we get into the meat of today's episode, it has been hot.
Oh yeah, no, it's and actually that's a good point, because I often talk about how I've got my garden all mulched and I don't have to water it and blah 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 blah, mm-hmm. And I didn't turn a hose on until I don't know a few weeks ago, but I did. I have water, so I have watered my garden twice.
Wow. Which
still isn't too bad. I mean, could I have gone without watering it at all? I think so. Because even after all the rain we got, it was different in different places. I was driving at some of that. It was insane. But I don't think where I am, in my particular property here, we didn't get a lot of that. But I mean, it rained all day yesterday, off and on. And I was digging up some potatoes today, and the soil was like bone dry.
Wow.
But despite all of that, everything's growing fine, right? Mm-hmm. So I think, even when the soil is relatively dry, I think there's enough moisture there when you've got a decent mulch that it doesn't seem to suffer the same way. But all of that being said, I broke out the hose and did a bit of watering a couple weeks ago, and I did it twice. Not because I thought the garden would die as a result of not watering it, because in my experience, when you've got it well mulched, they seem to really handle dry conditions well, but more because I wanted optimum yield.
Yeah. Right.
So it's like, I could get, everything will be fine, but I want it awesome.
Yeah.
It's not like it's not like if you use a mulch. I think this is a mistake some people make. It's not like if you use a mulch, you're not allowed to water. You can water your garden whenever the hell you want. So it's just you don't have to. On any given day, you're not a slave to watering your garden if you've got a good mulch.
Right.
And moreover, if you're not watering it all the time, it forces the plants to develop their root systems and search for water. So, why would you want to baby them if they can
make them work?
Make them work for it, exactly. Yeah. My day, we got water,
Exactly.
We had to suck it out of the ground with our teeth, But yeah, just because you're using a mulch and you're doing some sort of permaculture garden doesn't mean you're not allowed to water your garden. You know, that's crazy. That's dogma. That doesn't make any sense. You can water your garden whenever on earth you want. You don't have to. You don't have to be a slave. The beauty of it is you're not a slave to watering your garden, and that's where it really is. So if you love watering your garden, go water your damn garden every day if you want to. I don't enjoy it, especially with my garden. I've got mosquitoes and horse flies and deer flies. So, you know, I just go crazy trying to water it out there. I guess if I went out at like 4 a.m. it wouldn't be bad, but I don't feel like doing that at 4 a.m. I always think that, you know, gardening should be relaxing and easy and meditative. You should be in a meditative state in your garden. So if you're a slave to your garden, that's not a meditative state. No. So So anyway, I thought I'd mention that for some people to think, oh my God, I don't want to gaslight people. You know, like, oh, I have to water my garden all the time. Yeah, well, there's nothing wrong with that. You know, but I do it. I do turn a hose on a couple times over the year. But yes, this summer I've watered my garden. There's 2 days where I've watered my garden since June, despite the dryness. That's not bad. That's pretty. Yeah. Well, it's pretty low maintenance in my book. Oh, yeah. And we haven't had a lot of rain, right? No. So yeah,
we had one good rain there. Was that yesterday or the day before? But I mean, other than that, it's been dusty.
I drove out to Antigonish on Monday or Sunday. Was it Sunday? Sunday to visit family. And between the airport and New Glasgow, for those that aren't from Nova Scotia, that's about a 100-kilometer stretch. Yeah. The highway was insane. Like, people were going 70 kilometers an hour on the side of the road with their flashes on.
Because it was raining so hard.
Oh, I was trying to pass a bus at some point. Yeah. And, you know, like, it wasn't a crazy move, but it probably wasn't the most.
It sounds a little.
But it wasn't. No, at that point it wasn't. So this was when I was driving and it was raining, but it was just like regular rainy driving conditions. So, you know, I used to commute all the time, so it wasn't that big a deal. Yeah. It was just rain, and so I pulled out to pass this bus, and I get hit with a wall. Oh, yeah. It was like I was driving onto a waterfall. Wow! And I couldn't see anything. Wow. I could literally lost vision on the road with my two kids in the back of the car. Yeah. And I just had to just relax and wait. Yeah. Hopefully you can see before you're dead. That sort of thing.
Yeah, well, it's one way or the other.
You've been talking to the kids.
Yay! This is fun.
Fun, you know. Trying not to have
Daddy does this all the time.
Yeah, this is all right. Yes. What music do you want to listen to? You know. But anyway, right after that, I got on the right hand lane and slowed down and turned my flashes on, and holy smokes, I was like, "Whew, that was a close one."
We almost died.
Yeah. So anyway. But I don't think any of that rain hit here because I've got a pond in my backyard, like a goldfish pond. It's not like it doesn't have a pump or anything like that. It's just a hole I dug in the ground and put some fish in, and I've killed a lot of fish in that hole. They all seem to die there. Anyway, there was no water in it when I got home, and it was like a monsoon.
Oh yeah,
that rain never touched here, which is ridiculous because that's like a 20-minute drive from here.
Yeah, that's right. Because I was actually up in Pictou County during a lot of that as well, and I thought we got it back here, but I don't know if we did. But anyway, the point is that was the only rain we've had in a long time.
Yeah, it's been dry.
And it was a quick pass through. It wasn't like a full day of rain. It was just a few heavy downpours, but. Anyway, so it has been hot. So
yes, exactly. Yeah. And the other good news in the garden is just follow up on an episode. The reptiles have returned. Oh yeah. In snakes. I was picking some beans the other day, and I found how snakes shed their skin. Yep. They molt or whatever. They get rid of. So I found a 2-foot long garter snake skin
Yeah.
my beans.
Can you use that for anything?
I'm sure you could. You put some flour and fry it in some butter or something. Maybe it tastes pretty good, but
yeah. Yeah.
I don't know what you do with. No, you can't make boots out of that or whatever.
Greg's gardening boots.
No, I don't think you just. I used it to gross out my kids.
Oh yeah, that works well.
But that's about it.
Yeah.
But anyway, the good thing is that I saw that. I've seen them. I've seen toads, and I've seen grass snakes, those green ones as well.
Okay.
And so that's the first time in a number of years I've seen that. So hopefully they're going to start to get the pests under control.
Yeah.
And I haven't used any. I did a couple episodes on different pesticides, and I did a couple of videos on them, but I haven't used those for a good 3 or 4 weeks now. Things seem to be. I never do anything just for sake of habit. Right. So I use those things to deal with, when things are, do some of my plants have holes in them? Yes. Yeah. But is it is it reasonable? Yeah, it's reasonable. I don't mind a bit of pest, like I've always put up with pests, and a little bit of pests is not a big deal. And I don't mind eating greens or whatever that have a few bites in them. That doesn't bother me in the slightest. I mean, you're cooking it. Yeah. It's different if you want like a perfect salad green, which begs the question: if you're buying salad greens in the grocery store, how on earth do they get them to the grocery store like that without any sort of treatment? Yeah. Because anyway,
that'll be another one.
Haven't used anything for a while, and things seem to be stabilized. Right. Cool. It's bad when you have a plant and it just disappears over a stretch of 4 or 5 days, which is what I've seen in the past. Without any treatment, that's happened to me. Wow. But this year, and that was happening early in the season. I used that Safer Zendal stuff. But other than that, and some of the slug bait, really, that was the main thing. And I saw a little bit of cabbage moths, just to follow up on that video. Did use the... what's it called? BTK, I believe. It's a bacteria. Doesn't seem to have turned into anything. My garden is not being destroyed by cabbage moths. So I don't know if it was the end-all or the BTK or which, but
something worked.
Last year it was destroyed by them in a huge way, bigly.
No, we won't get into that.
As a famous man might say. Yeah. This year, none of that's happening. No. So
cool.
Yeah.
So, what else we got on the old?
Well, today
list here.
I think we're going to talk about what to do with all that production. Right now, I've got a ridiculous amount of. I grew a variety of cucumber called, I think these were provided by Mackenzie C. They're Russian pickling cucumber. And man, they are going nuts. Made a garden that was 4x10 with dill and pickles, and I started that under the hoop house, that little, to see the video I made with this dome thing. So normally you couldn't plant around here, you couldn't plant cucumbers on the 1st of May. That would be would not work. But under that dome, they germinated and they were fine. They were ahead of the game. So now I got all these pickles, right? And what do you do with all of them?
I like pickles.
So traditionally, I mean, you can eat them as cucumbers as well, and they're nice. And you don't want to let them get too big, or the seeds, they get more seedy sort of thing. You want the seeds to be tiny. Right. So these ones, I would say that as a pickling size, the general rule for pickling cucumber is it should be the width of your hand. And I don't mean a hand span. I mean the width of like your 4 fingers. Yeah. It's about the right size for pickling cucumber. Yeah. And but you should definitely pick them before they're a hand span. Right. You're able to grab it between your thumb and your pinky sort of thing. But when they're that big, it's you have to cut them in half to pickle them. And they don't make the best pickles. The smaller ones seem to be better. So when they're that big, I just use them in salads. And even at that size, the seeds aren't so big that they don't make the seeds aren't so large that they make the pickle unenjoyable as a salad pickle. Talking about pick cucumbers, there's different varieties. There's like the Wisconsin pickling cucumbers, but these are some other variety called Russian pickling cucumbers. But I'm very happy with them. They're very productive. Nice. So, but then every 2 days I go to my garden and I'm filling a salad bowl with pickles. Mm-hmm. So three quarts of pickles. What do you do with all those pickles? And traditionally, I've made relish, or I've made pickles out of them, or I've just eaten them. You can only eat so many damn pickles a day, right? Yeah. You gotta when they're producing like that, you gotta preserve them, or give them away, or throw them away, right? But why would you do all that work, right, to just throw stuff away? And even giving stuff away, I find people literally want you to like bring it to their door. My dad, when I grew up, my father had a fishing boat, and he used to always complain that people only wanted fish that we could go. This is back in the old days. You could go out and catch a couple 100 pounds of cod or haddock, just using hand lines, right? Mm-hmm. in an afternoon, right? And he was happy to give some of it away, but people only wanted it if he'd like filleted it out. Yeah. Which is a lot of, I don't know if you're filleted 100 pounds of cod, but it's not much fun. It's not like, So he's like, well, I'll give you the whole thing, the head, guts, and all, and you deal with it, right? Yeah. So it's kind of the same thing. If you're growing your own vegetables, I'm happy to have people just sort of come and pick it out of the garden, but you want me to pick it for you? Forget it, man. Yeah. So I'm happy to have people come and take it, but otherwise, if I have to pick it, it's mine, sort of thing. As I did that, that work. Mm-hmm. So you got to do something with it. So traditionally, I've done pickles with vinegar, or made relish. And we love relish. We actually still have zucchini relish from last year. So this year, I decided to explore a different way of pickling pickles called lacto-fermentation. Okay. Now, anyone that's ever had kosher dill, I don't know if everybody knows what that means. You go to a nice deli, or maybe you're in the grocery store and you buy like the extra expensive pickles, a kosher dill. Mm-hmm. But if you look at the, and I can't speak to all brands, but for the most part, I'm not Jewish or anything like that. But if you look at the package or the bottle, a kosher dill, often it'll say, if you look at the ingredients, you won't see vinegar on the ingredients. It'll say water, salt, pickles, right, right, and whatever, dill and garlic, right. Mm-hmm. But there's no vinegar on there. Yeah. But when you bite into it, it tastes like vinegar. Right. So how did they do that, right? And I don't know why kosher dills are made that way. It's probably some ancient Talmudic law or something like that. But and forgive me for anyone that's listening to this that's actually Jewish that knows anything about this, and I'd love to know why. But in any case, this is an older way of preserving vegetables that predates sort of modern canning methods using vinegar. Right. This would have been back when you couldn't go down to the supermarket and buy 5 gallons of vinegar to do all your preserving. You just had salt. Mm-hmm. But luckily, it works out just fine. So what you're really doing is you're taking your whatever the vegetable you can do. I've done this with carrots. I've done this with garlic scape. I've done this with pickling cucumbers. Yeah. But you're creating a salt water environment that the vegetable is in, and there's a natural bacteria that just exists in the vegetable, and it starts proliferating in that environment, and that environment is not favorable to bad bacterias, right. And not only that, but the more that good bacteria, the lactobacillus, the more it starts taking over, it makes the environment even less hospitable to bad bacteria. Right. So it's really like a good guy. And the result is delicious pickles.
You're making me hungry. You do that every time.
I know. This is a food episode. This isn't how to grow. This is what to do with the stuff you grew. Because some people are starting to get overwhelmed by this sort of thing, right?
Yeah.
And the beauty of this is it's so much easier than it's easier in certain regards than the traditional pickling, because you're not putting it in a jar and then canning it with high pressure and the vacuum sealing and all. It's a different sort of thing. It's the exact opposite. I mean, you're putting it in the jar and it's supposed to go bad in the jar, but it's going to go bad in a way that tastes great to you.
Yeah.
And there's something about human beings. I think we're, if you study evolution or whatever, we sort of pump ourselves up as being these great predators, right? Oh, we developed spear and the bow and arrow and man, the hunter and so on. But I don't know. I think we may be just like really successful scavengers. It's very possible that and fire would allow this. You go find some dead animal somewhere that's inedible and you just like boil it up and then you can eat it.
Yeah.
Think of all the things that we enjoy in our diet. Yogurt, it's rotten milk. Cheese, that's rotten milk. Even sausages. Traditionally, a sausage, I mean, you'd put all this meat into a intestine, pig intestine, and you put like an enzyme in there and you hang it in a cold room where it sort of rots a bit, right? I can't remember the name of that, but you put the stuff in the sausage that is actually going to ferment it a bit, but in a way that tastes great. Or aging beef, when you kill a cattle or a beef cow, you don't eat it right away. You got to hang it for a bit. Right. If you go to a really fancy restaurant, you're going to get the super aged beef that's been like hanging for 6 weeks or something. Right? Something about human beings, we love rotten things. We like sauerkraut. It's rotten. Yeah. And sauerkraut is lacto-fermented cabbage. Yeah. If you ever go to a Korean restaurant, you get this stuff called kimchi, which is just kind of like a spicy sauerkraut, I suppose. Right. And there are beer, soy sauces, fermented soybeans, tofu, right? It's sort of like a cheese. It's like they take the beans, mush it all up, and rot it in just the right way. And I even remember talking to this. I used to know this Korean guy. I always talk to this guy about fishing, and he asked me if I knew where to catch skates. Yeah. For those that don't know what a skate is, it's sort of like a ray. It looks like a ray, but it's not a ray. It's a skate. I don't know what the difference between a skate and a ray is. The skate has no stinger on it, I guess. But
I think so, yeah.
Anyway, he was saying back in Korea, there's this way they prepare skate, where you take the skate and you put it inside like a bale of hay in the sun, and you leave it like that for a while, and it sort of ferments. Really? The skate ferments in a bale of hay. Wow. And he said, it just smells terrible. Yeah. But tastes really good.
Interesting.
So I think humans have this affinity for like things that have rotted a bit. And modern pickles that have vinegar, that's just mimicking. They found a way to mass produce something that flavor-wise is relatively similar to this older way of doing it, where you're creating. What happens is the vegetable ferments, and through the fermentation process, an acidic environment is created in the soluble. Yeah. And so that acidity is the result of that lactic acid that's created in there. Mm-hmm. And so and it's salty. So it's salty and acidic and crunchy. And it's a pickle, right? And you put some dill and some garlic, so it's garlicky and dilly as well. Yeah. So that's the old way of doing it. And I've been doing that for the last, 3-4 weeks. And I've gotten this is my first year. So full disclosure, I haven't been doing this for years. This is my first year doing it, but I've been doing it. I've been eating them. I'm not dead. Yeah. Son ate one today, so we'll see. Hopefully he's still around tomorrow. Yeah. Doing this, he's 8, but he liked it, and he's kind of fussy. So my 8-year-old son tried one. He said it was a good pickle. So that's and the good thing about that too is you can dial up the saltiness or dial it down or whatever, and you can also, how many days you'll leave it. So let me explain how to make these things. This is how you do it. Yeah. So you gotta have some dill. So for me, I grew my pickles with dill. That way, it's all in the same place. Mm-hmm. And there's also dill all over the place in my garden. It just sort of it's almost like a weed. Mm-hmm. I let a lot of my dill go to seed, and the seeds just go all over the place. And wherever they come up, if they're not really not in the wrong, if it's not a big problem, I just let them grow.
Yeah.
So I've always got dill. So, which is nice. So you need some dill, and not just the leaves from the dill, but the seed heads as well, the flowers. There's two different things. You need both to get a nice flavor, in my opinion. You need dill, you need garlic, and if you've been growing garlic, you've got garlic. You need salt, and I get that coarse pickling salt. You don't have to get Himalayan salt or this thing or kosher salt or whatever. Just the cheapest salt you can buy in the grocery store is called coarse pickling salt.
Okay.
And that's the kind I buy I do use it for all my cooking, in fact. If you put it in a coffee grinder and turn it into a fine powder, it's awesome on popcorn. But anyway,
okay.
Coarse pickling salt, you need to 2 tablespoons of that. Of course, you need water, and not just any water, but you don't really want, at least from what I've read, you don't want tap water if your tap water is chlorinated, right? You need water that's going to facilitate fermentation. So it can't have stuff in it that is, not conducive to that. Mm-hmm. So I'm lucky where I live. I'm on a well, and my water's all filtered, so it's just completely neutral water. So if you're in the city somewhere, you can do experiment. Maybe your tap water is okay. Maybe it doesn't. It really depends on how it's treated. It may be treated with chlorine. It may just be treated with a UV beam or something. There's different ways that municipalities treat their water. Yeah. So you can just do experiments. If you put this whole thing together and you check on it in 3 days and it's got a fermenty smell and it's sort of like bubbling and stuff, then your water's fine for that sort of thing. Nice. Anyway, so you have water and you got a few cucumbers, and you need a 1 quart jar. And the kind I like to use are these. I get them at sort of used, like Value Village or what, I don't know where people live, but we have a place here in Canada called Value Village where you can go and buy used stuff. It's sort of like a perpetual yard sale. 24/7 year-round yard sale. Yeah. You buy stuff, so you can get these jars that have a flip cap, but really any jar will do, I think. So what you do is for a 1 quart jar, that's what you want is a 1 quart jar. You're going to boil some water. You're going to boil a cup of water. You're going to mix a cup of hot water with a cup of cold water. Okay, a cup of boiled water with a cup of cold water. If you mix 1 cup of each, you basically get lukewarm, which is the right temperature. You don't have to do this. You can go all cold, but you can't go all hot. You want lukewarm. So you can boil 2 cups of water and just let it cool down until it feels, like body temperature. You want it that lukewarm temperature. Mm-hmm. So the easiest way to get there is just 1 cup of hot and 1 cup of cold. Right. So you get that boiled, you put those 2 together, and you put 2 tablespoons of the coarse pickling salt, and stir that around until it completely dissolves into the water. And from everything I've read, you can use for 1 quart, and which is going to be 2 cups of water you're going to need. 2 cups of water is in a quart, but you need 2 cups of water to fill a quart jar that's full of pickles. Right. You can use anywhere from 1 tablespoon to 3 tablespoons of salt. I tried 1 tablespoon. I like salty things. It wasn't salty enough for me, and I think if you go beyond 3 tablespoons, it's too salty for the fermentation. It's just the environment's not ideal for those bacteria to live in. So I found 2 tablespoons. It works fine, and it's the right saltiness for me. So you weigh that against your own individual taste. So what you do, you got that all ready now and it's all dissolved. You've got your jar that you're going to put all this stuff in. And what I do with the jar is I sterilize it. So that can mean how I sterilize is I fill it full of boiling water and then I put it in the microwave for 2 minutes, and so it's full of boiling water, and then I boil it in the microwave for 2 minutes. This is just to make 1 jar, because I find with the kind of garden I have anyway, I'm not making like 10 jars of pickle in one day. I'm making like a jar a day or a jar every other day, just keeping up with things. Because you want to put your pickles down when they're fresh, right? You don't want to pick a bunch and then put them in your fridge and then pick a bunch and put them more. You want to do your pickles, and this whole process that I'm describing, I can do this all in about 5 or 10 minutes, right? So it's not, we're going to spend more time explaining it today, but it doesn't take that long.
Yeah.
So anyway, you get your jar and you sterilize it, and the easiest way to sterilize the lid is to just throw it in the kettle and bring the kettle to a boil. Okay. And just take it with a pair of tongs and try not to touch the underside of the lid, the part that's going to be in contact with the bottle. Touch, if you're going to touch parts with your fingers, touch the top of the lid that's going to be on the outside, exposed to the air, not the inside. So you got your jar and everything all ready. It's just sterilized pretty good, and because you only want the things you want growing in there, right? Mm-hmm. And then what you do is you put your dill in the bottom of the jar, you put your garlic in the bottom of the jar, and if you've got bay leaves, put them in. Or I've been using grape leaves. From what I've read, bay leaves and grape leaves, what they do is they add tannins to the to the solution, and that is supposed to preserve the crispiness of the pickle. Everybody likes a crispy pickle. Yeah. So, and I've found, at least all the ones I've done, I've eaten a couple batches already, and I like pickles. Oh, yeah. They're crunchy. They're like a beautiful pickle. Those bay leaves or grape leaves are supposed to help accentuate that, and also it sort of holds everything down in the bottom. So you put that all in the bottom, and then you jam your pickles in. You don't want to bruise the pickles or smush them, but you want to get the pickles in as tight as you can, and try to put them in such a way that they don't float up to the top once you add the liquid. Okay. So when you pour the liquid in, you want a layer of liquid between the top of the pickles and the top of the jar. So you don't want any pickles to be exposed to any sort of air. All the pickles have to be submerged in the jar. So if you've jammed them in properly, they shouldn't sort of come up. Most jars have shoulders before where the opening is. Mm-hmm. It's like a neck. So the neck is narrower than the actual jar, most jars. Yeah. And they're designed that way so you can jam stuff in there and keep everything below where the neck is. So you can have an area in the neck that's liquid with no, whatever you're trying to pickle, it's just liquid, nothing else. Yeah. If your pickles are poking out above the liquid, above the surface of the liquid, there's a high probability they're going to go get a mold on them. Which isn't in the world. You can just throw that pickle out and eat the rest. From what I've read, don't sue me on that. I've not tried. I did have a batch do that. I threw them all away. Yeah. So it's like, ooh, yuck! I just threw it away. Another way to prevent that is if you, I don't know what people in other parts of the world do, but if you go down to a lot of beaches here, we live in Nova Scotia and it's coastal, you can get these nice, perfect, flat skipping rocks. Yeah. So you get a bunch of those rocks and sterilize one of those and put that in the mouth of your jar so that it holds all the pickles down, but it's still below the surface of the water. Yeah. Right. So that's just an easy way. I mean, I'm sure there's some special thing you can buy at Lee Valley or whatever that does all of that as well. But the cheapest thing is just get a rock that's round and flat, that's narrower than the mouth of your jar. Anyway, that's the most important thing, that the pickles are beneath the liquid. They have to be underneath the liquid. There has to be no air. They're completely immersed in the water. All of this, everything that's happening to that pickle needs to happen in a submerged environment. Yeah. And then once that happens, you put the lid on and you cover it so that the jar is not exposed to light. So you can just wrap a tea towel around it or put a brown paper bag over it, whatever. And I just leave them on my kitchen counter so I don't forget about them. Right? I mark the date that I expect them to be ready. So for the most part, you leave it you leave it at room temperature for a week or less. So when I was doing garlic scapes, I found that they needed a full week. But pickles I've been doing, I found they're good after 5 days. After 5 days, you can taste the acidity.
Yeah.
They to me they seem fine.
Yeah.
Like they just seem to have just the right everything.
Yeah.
But it's been really, really warm. So I'm sure the temperature matters. Just like if you were brewing beer or whatever, it's going to work faster if it's warmer. So recently, the last few batches I've done have seemed to be good in about 4 or 5 days, but it's been really, really warm. So maybe in September, when maybe the room temperature in my house is more like 20,
yeah,
it might take a full week, right? Because so all that matters. And I mean, you can pull one out and just taste it and see.
Yeah.
And remember, when you're tasting these things, they're not going to taste the same warm as they're going to taste cold. So if you want to know what it tastes like, pull it out and put it in your fridge and wait an hour and taste it cold. Because if you taste them warm, it's just not going to taste as good. Right? It tastes better cold. But anyway, a week or less depending on taste. And then what I do is I take the pickles out of the jar, take everything out of the jar, and I run the liquid through a strainer and sort of get everything out except the garlic. And I put the pickles, and so I take all the dill and all that other stuff out. And so it's just like a nice clear liquid and pickles and garlic. And then I put that all back in a new clean jar and put that in the fridge.
Yeah.
And so that's the catch with these. You can't just stick them in the, if you were going to can a pickle with the traditional way, or by traditional I mean not as traditional as this, but if you were going to use vinegar, you'd put the canned pickles in a boiler and boil them and treat them with heat and all this sort of stuff. And then as soon as that's done, you can stick them in your pantry.
Yeah.
You can stick them in the cupboard and leave them there for 10 years. But with this approach, this is the approach that existed when people had cold rooms.
Yeah.
And all this would have been happening around September-ish when the harvest was happening. So once these things are done working at room temperature, you have to cool them down so they stop fermenting.
Right.
Fermenting, and that creates your acidity. But then you want them to stop when you've got them the way you want them. So I guess in the old days, you would have put that in a cold room, or you would put that in a root cellar of some kind where it's cold. Even kimchi, they would bury that stuff, right? Bury it underground. So, you go down about 3 feet, it's cold.
Yeah.
And everything just stops, right? It's like a perfect beer temperature. So I've just been putting this. I don't have a root cellar, and I don't have a cold room, so I've just been putting them in my fridge, which means I can only do so much this way.
Yeah, right.
Right? Maybe I should try burying some in the ground. That'd be a fun experiment.
Yeah, yeah, you should.
Now, I know that once November rolls around, I can pull all the stuff in my garage, because my garage stays around 5 degrees Celsius from about November right up until, I don't know, April. Right? Just it's not heated, so it's attached to the house, and it gets some heat from the house, but it doesn't. There's a heater in there, and it kicks in if it goes below zero. But that's it. So. Anyway, that's the idea, is that this is the way of preserving things before we had canning and refrigerating. So there's certain advantages using vinegar, because it doesn't take a week. It doesn't take a week to get the thing from a pickle or a cucumber to a pickle, right? It's done in no time. It takes more time. It takes more of your time to do a vinegar canning. You got to boil the vinegar and boil this, and you got to put it under pressure and boil it and do all this stuff.
Yeah.
So it actually takes more time, but it's done that day.
Yeah.
Whereas this, you set it all up and you put it on the counter, and then you wait a week, right?
Yeah.
So it's not ideal for mass production. It takes time. And once it's done, you can't just put it anywhere. It has to be stored below a certain temperature, or it won't keep that well. But on the other side of it, it makes, to me, a superior pickle. So if you like your pickles and you want to try something fun, and don't just listen to me, go online and look it up, and do your own research.
Cool.
Because it's worth. There's a website called pickle-it.com, like pickl-it, pickle-it.com.
Cool.
And it's got a lot of information on lacto. Free plug for those guys.
Yeah.
Know me, but anyway, it's pretty good discussion of all of this sort of stuff.
Yeah.
It's one of the resources I consulted when I decided to give this. I did this, and I watched a lot of YouTube videos and that sort of stuff. But I'm really happy with it, and anyone that's been on the fence about giving it a try, I've been doing it for a month. I'm not dead. Am I doing one-arm push-ups, and do I have because it's supposed to have probiotic this and that and the other thing? I don't know. There's an argument there because the advantage is that the acidic environment that it creates is far more digestible, I guess. When you have pickle vinegar, regular pickles that have vinegar in them, the vinegar isn't really doing anything for you. Your body's able to deal with it, but it's not doing anything. It's like drinking alcohol. It's not doing anything for you. It doesn't kill you. Mm-hmm. I mean, it might do something for you in terms of it might improve your mood. Right. but it's not like you're getting like special nutrients from whiskey, right? It doesn't give you anything. It sort of takes, if anything, it probably takes something away from you. And I don't know, but if you have like white vinegar, I don't think it's really doing anything for you at all. It's just increasing the pH of your gut. Yeah. But this lactic acid is supposed to be probiotic, like a yogurt. It's supposed to be good for you. So that's another, if that sort of thing matters to you. So yeah, I've had a pickle every day, but I've eaten 3 jars of pickles in the last month. So I've been eating a lot of pickles, man. Yeah, you're right. And I can't say that I feel superhuman or anything like that. Man, they taste good. Awesome. And I certainly subscribe to the idea that it's got to be better for you than just vinegar, right? Because it's alive, right? It's not just acid. It's like a thing. It's a bacteria. You're drinking a bacteria that you can digest. So it's something, right?
Gotta love pickles.
You gotta love pickles.
I do. I know I do.
You'll have to try some of these.
I'll try some of your radioactive pickles. No problem.
Yeah. That's the thing. One final comment is that when you're choosing your container, use a container that will bleed gas if extreme internal pressure occurs. So these flip cap containers I've got, I can't really describe them. Maybe I'll put a picture or something like that. Actually, that's a perfect picture for this episode. I'll have to send that to you, Dave. But they have this funny thing that clamps down. But what I've noticed with those is if you pour boiling water in them and close them and shake them, the water sprays out of them. Okay. So they can't handle a certain amount of pressure. They just blow the stuff out. Okay. Which is good. It means the jar isn't going to explode. Yeah. Right? Certain kinds of jars. Like when you buy a jar of, I can't speak to every brand of jar, but if you buy a jar of vacuum sealed pickles in a store, for instance, or vacuum sealed anything in a store, it's meant to hold a vacuum, which is the opposite of internal pressure. It's meant to withstand external pressure, right? There's a vacuum inside the jar, and it's able to withstand external pressure. Right. It's not designed to withstand internal pressure, like a beer bottle is designed to withstand internal pressure. It's pressurized on the inside. So you don't want to use a jar that cranks down so tight that once all fermentation starts happening, you're going to get internal pressure. Yeah. And if you've got a jar that can't take that, it's going to explode. Yeah. So either you need a jar that you are guaranteed is going to be able to take that pressure, or a jar like the ones I'm using that just sort of give up. So I've noticed under some of my jars, I check them every couple of days, and there's liquid on the ground. So there's a bit of stuff getting out, which is fine. From everything I've read, I'm still here, so it's all fine. Yeah. Also, you need to remove the ends off the cucumbers, the stem end and the blossom end, before you pickle them, because that apparently is supposed to reduce the chance of the pickles going off and them going mushy. I've never made pickles leaving them on, so I don't know if that's true or not, but I wouldn't want to go through the whole process of pickling it and then find out that you should have cut them off. So cut those ends off. That's what everybody says you're supposed to do, and that's what I do, and it seems to work just fine. Also, from what I've read, if you're really concerned about this sort of stuff, you can go get some litmus paper to check the pH. There's a certain kind of you can get litmus paper that'll tell you where the pH is, and to be completely secure in the knowledge that you are safe. You should achieve a pH in the brine of 4.4 to be safe. I haven't done any of that. It's just these taste great. Okay, I'm eating them, and into the fridge now. But yeah, it's everything I've read that should be here. And I'm looking at a variety of sources, and there's a number of pHs that I've seen. This is the lowest of the ones I've seen. So the lower the pH is, the more acidic, right? So I've seen different ranges. I'm picking the lower boundary of that range just to be conservative here. So pH of 4.4 to be safe. Cool. Just in case you're concerned and you really want to go and measure all of that sort of stuff. And again, don't sue me if you eat these. And
disclaimer.
Disclaimer, do your own research. Don't do this if you don't feel comfortable with it at all. But man, if you want to explore it, if you're a curious person, this is I've been reading about this for years, and this year I decided to try it, and man, what a good pickle. Awesome. Actually, the main reason is that I was talking to a woman who was from Russia, and she said she hates the pickles that they sell here in Canada, and she makes her own. I said, how do you do it? And she goes, I just put them in a bucket and some salt and leave them on the counter for a week. And so I said, I'm going to read. That sounds really simple, and you look pretty healthy. So, I decided to give it a try, and totally worth it.
Awesome. And there you have it.
There you have it, lacto-fermented pickles. Awesome. And I've done that with carrots as well, and garlic scapes, and I'm sure you can do it with a whole range of different things. Just limited to your imagination and your individual taste.
Awesome. Right from the garden to your plate.
Exactly.